Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Yana. I'm one of the registered nurses. Currently I work in a general medicine ward and I do create for you guys a lot of nursing content, and if you're keen on checking out, go to my playlist for nursing videos and you will find a lot of different topics there since I was a student. In today's video I want to do it a Q&A video answering your questions. I have asked a couple of months ago you guys to submit your questions under the videos in the comment sections below. Also, a lot of you have sent me DMs to my Instagram and to my email asking me questions about nursing studies, about work in general, and things about my personal life as well. So I have selected today a couple of questions to answer in this video, not to make it too long, so let's just get started. Okay, so the first question is it hard to study nursing? Well, yes, it is hard. I have studied my diploma of enrolled nursing full-time, and then I have moved to Bachelor of Nursing Science to remaining 2 years full-time as well. It is hard in terms of the load of information that's given to you. You will need to learn how to do research. You will need to learn how to study autonomously, because most of your assessments and essays will be written by you, so you will need to research a lot of different information to make your essay, to fill in the questions in your assessments. And as far as I remember from my studies back at TIFE, because I've done my diploma at TIFE, they had huge, massive assessments, and I have one friend of mine who's currently on her second semester of enrolled nursing as well, and she was showing me her assessments, and I can see that they are becoming more difficult and more bigger so they're not making it any easier for nurses out there for you guys. While we have like massive shortages for nurses in healthcare in general, but yet they're making it so hard to study. But if you put your heart and your mind to it, it is possible, because there are a lot of nurses who do graduate and they finish their degree without any failure, and they go and they work in the nursing workforce and they succeed in their careers. So yes, it is hard, but it is possible. You just need to dedicate yourself and find a lot of time to put into your studies. The second question is, what was the hardest subject in nursing studies? Back at TIFE, I would say law, because I'm not a big fan of law and like all the legislations and all of that. It's hard for me to understand it, and I find the subject boring. Although it's very important for the nurses, because when you will be working as a nurse, you will need to follow a lot of protocols, procedures, you know, you will need to be aware of the law, you know, your ethics and all of that. So it is important, but for me, because I didn't have great interest to it, it was hard, because I was literally pushing myself to understand things, to memorize things and do my assessments. And then back at uni, I would say the hardest subject was pharmacology, because we will need to go through a lot of different medication classes, and you will need to memorize a lot of medications as well, your medication calculations too. So I think that one was hard, but in that one I was interested in. I had an interest in it and I wanted to learn. It was hard for me. It was a lot of information to memorize and understand. But yeah, I think those two were my hardest subjects, I would say. Anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology I loved to my core. Complex care as well, because we would discuss a lot of health conditions and treatment options in there. Like everything else was fine. I loved my labs because they were practical, and I love anything to do with hands-on practice. Yeah, so yeah, those two. The next question is, do you get discriminated for your accent at work? Ooh, that's a tough one. Okay. No, I don't now, but I remember when I started to work as a carer in my first aged care job. I have finished my first semester of studies at TIFE, and I applied for a carer position at aged care where I had my placement. And we had that particular lady there who wasn't an employee, she was a resident. She was so racist, put it that way, to all staff. And you know how in healthcare, whether you're working in an aged care or community or disability or public hospitals, private hospitals, we have so many different nationalities and backgrounds. Like most of the doctors, most of the nurses, they all come from overseas. We all foreign people. I think the majority, the percentage of clinicians working in Australia are foreign people, because most of the Aussies, they usually go into different fields. If it's a male, then they would go to handyman jobs, constructions, you know, anything to do with tools, electricity, plumbing. You know, a lot of women here in Australia, they go into teachings, you know, retail jobs. So you will find a lot of clinicians are actually foreign people. So of course we all have accents, and the accents could be different. Some could be easy to understand, some could be hard to understand. I'm not sure if my one is easy or hard to understand, but honestly, like, now I don't have any problems at all. But that particular lady, she would refuse to get cares from us just because we were not Australians, and we were like, okay, whatever, you don't want cares, well, we're the only ones on the shift, so it's not us, then it's nobody, you do it yourself. And then she would like come up with a really bad attitude, because she would realize that, okay, yeah, definitely, like if I'm going to say no to the cares now, who else is going to do it? Like that's the only people are here. And she would give us nasty behavior, you know, nasty treatment during the care process. And then I think after about a year of me being there, I used to hate doing her cares, and then she passed away, and it was, I'm sorry to say, but it was such a relief. Like, she was not a nice person at all. But since then I never had any problems of me being me, you know, from a different country, have an accent. In fact, a lot of my patients from the hospital, they always say like, oh, where is your cute accent from? And I'm like, I'm from Ukraine. And then when I say that, they start like, oh my god, like, is everything good in Ukraine? I'm like, yes, like it's still the same, it's not good, but it's still the same. They're like, do you have family there? I'm like, yeah, I still have family. Are they safe? Yeah, they are safe. Like, and sometimes, like, to answer the question about my accent, I need to, like, I say where I'm from, and then I feel sorry instantly, because like the situation that happens in Ukraine, it's very sad. The reason why I'm laughing now is because, like, when I bring it up to, without any intention in my mind, just to answer the question where I am from, people start to like go into the whole story. And sometimes I feel like, should I say like that my dad is Jewish and I have like Jewish blood in me? But then if I bring Israel, like Israel now in a shitty position as well, I don't know what's better to say. But seriously guys, like, I've never had, since that moment with that lady in aged care, any problems with my culture, where I am from, my accent and anything like that. People do not discriminate, whether they are my patients or my colleagues. They all really nice. I have a lot of Indian people I work with on my ward, and like, we all a really friendly team. The next question is, how much do you get paid in nursing? Okay, well, do you mean currently? If me personally, currently now, I would assume that that question was to me personally under one of my videos. In healthcare now, where I work in a public hospital, our hourly rate for my experience level is $42 point, I think 60 or 90, something like that. So nearly $43 is a base rate. Then on the top of that, you have your evening load of 12.5%. You have your Saturday load of 50%. You have your Sunday double, which is 100%, and then you have a night load, is it 20 or 25% now? I think it's a 20% of a night shift load. So your base rate is only paid to you as a base rate only on your morning shifts, but your afternoons, your nights, your weekend work is a very, very good pay. Then in my aged care, I'm casual now there. My hourly rate is nearly $46 an hour, and then on top of it, you have the same loads, your afternoon, your night, and your Saturday and Sunday. The only difference in percentage is that aged care still operates on a 75% rate, penalty rate on Sunday, whereas Queensland Health, thanks to the unions, have approved a double on Sundays. Okay, that's the only difference, but all the other penalty rates are the same. So thanks to the penalty rates, your salary as a nurse will be really good. So you will be looking at earning, starting if you work for Queensland Health or for GP clinics, starting at earning 80k a year, and then you will go up and up and up according to your experience level. The next question is, where do you work right now? Well, I pretty much mentioned it a while ago. I work currently for 2 companies. I work for a public hospital for Queensland Health, Metro North region, and I work for a private aged care as a casual there. So those are 2 places that I'm working in right now, and I do my YouTube as well, which is a fun for me, but also a side income. Do you find nursing stressful? Yeah, I do at times. Those times would be like when we are short-staffed, because it might be a very busy shift. We might have very difficult patients in terms of their conditions and the cares that need to be provided to them, you know, the treatments that they receive. It might be a full-on day, and if you are short-staffed, yes, it does become stressful. It does become stressful for me if we have patients who are impulsive, they have delirium, they are confused, and they are elderly and a high false risk, and we don't have a CPO approved yet. CPO, it means someone who come and babysit, in brackets, you know, those patients, like it's one-on-one care, making sure that that patient is safe. Because we can't restrain them unless there is an order for it, which doesn't practice often on my ward. And the beds are not available in a false risk unit downstairs. Then we have to keep those patients, and if we don't have a CPO on a day, then yes, it does become stressful, because apart from that particular patient, I have another 3 patients to look after. I need to do their cares, medications, you know, dressing changes, and lots of other things throughout my shift. So yes, it does. It also does get stressful if you have abusive, rude patients as well, when you need to call the securities. That would be another day when I would feel really stressed, you know. But yeah, like in general, it doesn't happen every single shift. It happens sometimes. You might have a couple of shitty shifts, you know, like in a row, but as I said, it's not every week. In general, I love my profession, and I think even like with all the stress that I have in it, like I would never leave that profession, because I do have a lot of positive sides in it that I adore and I love up until today. The next question is, do you remember everything you've learned in your nursing school? No, I don't, because I think the way our memory works is whatever you gain in theory form, if you practice hands-on, it becomes kind of your habit, your nature, and the more you practice it, the more it stays in your mind. It becomes your second you. But if you don't practice that much, then you tend to forget. So whatever I have learned in my nursing studies, and I have practiced through my placements, I have practiced and still practicing now, it does stay in my head. It became as part of my habits and my daily routine when I do cares for my patients. There were some things that I haven't practiced as much and I did forget it, but I think the base that they gave us as students, if I come across anything in my work, it will kind of like swim up in my memory at some point, maybe not fully in details, but I would know that, okay, I know that, I just need to maybe refresh my mind a little bit in terms of details of how to do the whole procedure, you know, maybe see the manual or a protocol for it. But in general, yeah, like some things I don't remember anymore, and it's normal. Don't be afraid of it, because we're human beings and we can't remember everything unless you do it from day-to-day practice. Okay, the next question is, how did you get your job as a nurse? Okay, well, I started working as a yin, okay, to start my experience going in a healthcare field in general. AN is assistant of a nurse. Then I moved into EN in aged care while I was studying my Bachelor of Nursing Science, and then on my last semester of finishing my bachelor, I have applied for a grad registered nurse program with Queensland Health, and I have put 3 different hospitals, public hospitals with Metro North as my priorities, and in those 3 hospitals I had 3 different wards for each hospital as my priorities as well. And then I was accepted. While I was waiting, I started working in aged care as RN, and then after 3 months of working in aged care, once my contract has been finalized for Queensland Health, I have moved to my public hospital, to the general medicine ward where I'm working now. So this is pretty much my story of how I got my job as a nurse. So currently I'm working as a registered nurse. The next question is, do you like the team you work with? Yes, in a matter of fact, I do, and I do a lot. We have a beautiful team of nurses and doctors and other specialists on my ward, in a general medicine ward where I work now at the public hospital, and I also have a nice team of nurses at the aged care where I'm working as well. I think I am blessed, because I could not wish for a better team, honestly. And the last question is, are you a permanent resident? I have a citizenship, so I am Australian. This is my second citizenship, apart from my native one from the country where I was born. So yes, I do have a citizenship, so you can consider me as a permanent resident here. When I started studying my diploma of enrolled nursing and also bachelor, I already had my citizenship. I had it how many years actually prior to my studies? 2 years, I think, or something like that, 2 or 3 years. I've got my citizenship, and then after 2 or 3 years I went into my studies. Yeah. So if you do have, guys, more questions like these ones, please leave them either under this video or DM me to my Instagram. My Instagram will be linked for you guys here, and also you can go to about section in my channel and see all the links for my social media there. Feel free to follow me on my Instagram, on my TikTok, and see my content there. I don't do a lot of educational videos there. It's more like my lifestyle, my personal kind of space, but I do see your messages there faster than here on YouTube. So if you want to DM me, please do that, and we will do another video. For now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next videos. Bye.